I'm Angie.
I'm Michelle.
Yeah. And we are Blue Heavens, and we are sisters that channel ancient divine beings from two councils of thought. Lazarus is a divine counsel that teaches us about love and compassion, and Lucian is a counsel that teaches us about the shadows and illusion and our emotions, and then together they all work together like we should to teach us how to be better people leading to better lives. What? That sounds awesome. Well, if that's what you want, if you want a better life, well, stay tuned. This is for you. This is it. This is going to be your jam. This is going to be the thing that wakes you up to life. You're like, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for my helping of Blue Heavens this morning. And yeah, right on. Oh, yeah. All right. So let's start this, shall we? We're talking about the Book of Job. So let's I would like to thank Spirit for coming into this space now to please join us, Spirit of truth and compassion and wisdom, and help us deliver this message of the story of Job. Let's open our eyes, ears, and hearts to this message so it is received the way that it is supposed to be received. Allow us to truly understand the parable of Job, so we can use these lessons to help us live better lives, to help us through our spiritual struggles here, to help us make more understanding of what's going on. And I'm super thankful for the beings in Lazarus and Lucian for all the special spiritual insight that they offer to us every week when we do these things. This is so special. I'm so excited that they are here to share their wisdom with us. It's bringing that spirit wisdom down to us, and I love it. It's perfect. So thank you all for joining us. I hope that you super enjoy this message. Let's get into it. So be it, so it is. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So the story of Job. Let's get into it. So Job, well, actually, it starts in a heavenly realm. So let's talk about this. So it starts in a heavenly realm, and we see God talking to what they said were the sons of God. So they were angels, and they were discussing Job. God's like, hey, I've got this guy, Job, my righteous guy, Job. How's Job doing? Right? And the Satan, which means an accuser or an opposer, steps forward and is like, he's only good because you bless him with things. And he has this thought that if you take everything away, he's not going to truly love you, right? That he's going to curse you. So it's like a little experiment that they come up with in this heavenly realm for Job, to see how Job handles it. And let's see how Job handles it. So let's talk about that real quick, just this glimpse. So I like this glimpse that it shows us that there are other beings that communicate with God, that it's like a council. Again, it's like a council of people who are working together. They all know Job, but we have God that says he sees this good side of Job. And now we have the Satan, which sees this other side of Job. Both sides exist. Both sides exist at the same time, but now they're going to see how do they fit together. So this is kind of like a struggle between your shadows, which the Satan is saying, hey, Job has shadows. And God is saying, my Job don't have shadows. And the Satan's like, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the struggle of duality of human experience so that we can have a better understanding. Even this heavenly realm wants to have a better understanding of it. So I think let's try to keep that in our mind's eye as we're struggling moving forward in this story. Okay. So what does Spirit have to say just about this heavenly realm bit? Give us some insight on this, please.
All right. This is Loki. Since yeah, we always have to introduce. Even Michelle does this all the time. This is not just for lives. She always, even within the family, this is Loki. It's, we state our name because of earlier lives. So if you wonder, does she do this all the time? Yes. She does this all the time. Yeah. And I know you can clearly see us, feel us. We just do it politeness. I don't know. But anyway, because Ellie asked me that, why do we just announce our name? She said, I know who it is. And we're like, that's
not everybody does, though. It's super helpful. Scott doesn't always know. It helps Scott to know.
Right. Yeah. Well, Dylan confronted me yesterday. And so, yeah. And And so he said he saw Marcus half naked yesterday. And I said, well, that's how he usually is. He said,
yeah.
Anyway, we don't have to give the new little nude freak. But anyway, so we'll go to that. He's got clothes. So to ask for the perspective is perfect. We're going to take Job into modern day so you understand it. First, I would like the historical, because I know people like the historical on things. Trevor said he likes historical backgrounds on things.
Okay.
So since this has been confusing, people say, is Job a real man? No. Job is representative of the Jesus parable. We all know Jesus was infamous for the parables. Now, so this is a parable. This is to explain Job. So Job is not one singular person. Job represents everybody. Job he wanted to explain the human condition in a way that they understood. Like the counsels, for example. There is no counsel. I mean, there is counsels when we say there is, but for an example to help everybody understand that, yes, there's heavenly counsels and shadow, but that's usually not a thing. I mean, with the most high divine, there don't have to be really. We're just counsels here because humans don't understand anything else, right? They don't really.
Yeah.
So it'd be like if Job was being represented by one of the girls, and it was Lazarus and Lucian, same thing. And we were saying to Lazarus, come on, that's bullshit. And we were taking anybody, and say, we're going to show you.
Yeah.
It's about, he wanted to explain, because a lot of people, he wanted to explain to people spiritual awakenings, which was taken out of the Bible. Why? Maybe they just felt people are ready for it. I don't know why. I'm not going to get into that debate. I don't know why humans do anything why humans do. All I know, it was taken out. And if you don't understand something, it's always best to ask the divine. And Job has been misinterpreted for so long. And it's irritating to hear how people do not even get the story right of what the story is. And so Job is fictional. It's a parable by Jesus. It's a parable. It was given to explain to people something, but it's also a Where's Waldo thing. You got to look for the puzzle pieces, and you can meditate on this, hear what we say, and you might get something totally different, but that's okay, because it was meant for you to figure out what does it mean to you, to help you out. But we give the basis of the truth. We give the root, the seed, and the root. And then you go, this is what it means to me. And you can put yourself as Job, or the friends, or anywhere in that. I mean, you could reread it, like put yourself as Job, put yourself as either the friends, and then maybe put yourself as God, because you are the creator. Put yourself as the Satan, the accuser. Put yourself there and see how you fit in and where you need to change. So that is why he told the story, so a human understands the human condition. Why you can, and get your facts straight, is we're going to find out with Job. And that, but he's trying to explain the spiritual awakening. Is what this was all about. So people understood what to explain him. He was a man that went through spiritual awakening, and he wanted everybody to experience what he did, but everybody misinterpreted it for magic. And he was the son of a virgin, and none of this was true. People misinterpreted all the time. So he had to try to explain it. And this story was a longer story, by the way. They took a lot out of this as well. But he was trying to explain himself. Because you don't know anything about his childhood. You just see the good. So you don't know what was taken from him. You don't know all these things. So basically, he's using an example of himself. But Job's also standpoint for everybody to explain the human condition, why you're here, what your journey is about. Sometimes there is no explanation. Get your facts straight, and you're never going to know everything. Don't try. It doesn't matter.
So at the beginning, I guess, so we have Job, and he has a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of stuff. He's got a big family. He's got a wife. He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of friends, got a lot of livestock and cattle. Like, he's got all this stuff. And sometimes when we have a lot of stuff, we want more stuff. Like, the stuff loses its meaning. We just want more of it because we feel powerful for the stuff we have, because everyone's like, hey, look at Job's stuff, right? So right here, we are seeing a disconnect of a heart. Like, now Job's heart's not connected to God. He's just getting stuff. So the Satan, being the accuser, has seen this, right? The higher spiritual beings see this side of us, that we're a follower of God. We're doing our sin offerings. We're putting on a show for other people that we're still good. We're still on God's team, but our heart's not in it anymore. And if your heart's not in it, your world is going to be shooked up because that's the point of you being here. The point of you being here is to be this spark of divine love that comes here to remember it's a spark of divine love and to spread love and wisdom to people. So Job is already not really doing what he's here to do. So sometimes that happens to us in life. Like my spiritual awakening, my Job, I had all this stuff, right? I worked at P&G. I had a lot of stuff. I had a lot of stuff. Nothing had any meaning. I didn't care about any of the stuff. I just had a lot of stuff, right? And then when I went to get a divorce and I got sick and all this stuff, I lost all my stuff. I like 1-800 got junk. I had to like call in, got junk, and just saw all my stuff just like go away because I didn't have time to sell the stuff. It was just a lot of it was brand new stuff too. Brand new stuff, just off goes the stuff, and it does something to you. Like it shakes you up. Well, where'd my stuff go? You have an attachment to all this stuff, but the stuff is nothing. It looks like something here and it looks like something to other people that are here, but it's nothing. It was almost like God was doing me a favor by getting rid of all this stuff. I wasn't being charitable with stuff. You know, people would come to my house and I'd buy food or make food. Like I was charitable in that kind of way, but not like I am now. I had no heart in it. So do you guys have something to say about that type of thing?
Yes, absolutely. So Job, at the very beginning, you know, again, you notice how the author is, you know, saying, because you got to remember, just because Jesus said it, somebody else wrote it in their way. But so they're very impressed with the money. You can just tell that from the beginning, he's so impressed, and he's a good, godly man because he's got all this stuff. So here you can tell the human is associated with stuff. It's fantastic. No, it's not. Because what is taught? You don't have stuff. You come into this world naked and by yourself, and you leave that way. And this is Loki, by the way, if I didn't announce it. And I don't remember. I'm just getting. But you come in like that. You come in with no attachment. You're not supposed to attach. Jesus had brother and sister. What did he call to his mom? I don't. Everybody's my mother. Everybody. He didn't sit there and say, "Well, you're my mother, so you're more important." And people might go, "That's no." He was not attaching. You're not supposed to attach. And so you see, like so the attachment to his stuff impressed upon this human. You can tell at the very beginning. Yeah. It's like that's the wrong thing. And if you go by, so now, like Angie said, he no longer appreciates it. He just has it. He's used to. He's comfortable. So let's go by this logic here. There's human needs, 6 human needs, and it's certainty, uncertainty, it's love, and significance. And the 2 that everybody will do is growth and contribution. Everybody. But the first are the 2 that you will, once you do at least 2 of these, it's a habit. So you know he's certain and he's significant. So already he's not growing and he's not contributing. Yeah. And so he feels like when he does it for his children, why isn't he not teaching his children to do this himself? They're merrymaking. And so you would think, oh, that's so nice of him. Well, no, teach your children, because that isn't very nice of you if you can't teach your children. So he already knows what they're doing, then teach them differently. If Job's a godly man, why is his children just doing whatever? So he's certain he's going to protect his children or whatever. Mm-hmm. See, and the Satan, that counsel of Satan is saying, wait a second. No. Because if the divine is seeing perfect, because it's seeing through the lens of perfection, what the Satan is seeing from the truth, which is Melchizedek. Who would you think Melchizedek would be? Right. And he's saying, come on, if you want to learn, even the Creator does not understand everything in the story. Job may appear this way, but things have to be so he has to let go of things. He's attaching to the children. He's attaching the ideas, and ritual is boring now. He's not giving his heart. He's comfortable, and he's not. And you can't grow if you're in any life. You had to be uncomfortable, Angie. Didn't when you got rid of your stuff? It was uncomfortable. Divorcing was uncomfortable. Watching everything with your daughter was uncomfortable. It was to shake you up, to get you to grow and contribute. Yep. Now your heart's different. Yep. It's different because when you were doing that, you felt significant, and you were certain you were going to get all this attention, but it was not for the right things. Now you're like, you live in uncertainty, which is good, you love, you love, and you have this uncertainty, which is great because it gives variety to your life, because you grew.
Yep.
And you contribute, and it changes you. So Melchizedek, the accuser, sees, come on. Yeah. And even Job knows something's, he's about to get shook up, because why does he do that for his children? Even he knows, saying he can feel it in the pit of his stomach, something's going to happen.
Yeah,
he feels it. So that's out of her, but yeah, exactly. So he's attaching to everything, and his lifestyle, and he's too comfortable, and he's here to learn, and he has to be shook up for growth.
When I was going through this yesterday, I also had spirit. I like, when I'm reading, I study, like I co-create with spirit. Like they'll give me an idea, and then I like humanize it, and then like we work on it together. And the meld that we had was hoarders. And they said that Job was a hoarder. He just became a hoarder of things. And when we are a hoarder, our energy field is filled up. We're filled up. We have really no room for anything else. So if you're wanting new stuff, the only way to get it is to get rid of what you have. So you have to make room for new things. Like we have just an amount of stuff that we can have, an energy field around us, and it's been filled up. So it's got to be taken away. It's got to be shrunken from Job so that he can be given new stuff. But the process, this process of losing to gain, is a super painful process. But you on the other side, you are a new person. You are strong, you're persevere, man. Like it puts you through the dirt. Right. So like it's like you're being replanted. You're back in your dirt. You're back in your darkness. You don't know what's going to happen when you come back out of the ground again, what's going to be there for you. So we go to, all right. So he loses all the stuff. Okay. So has this happened to you? Have you had this to where you lost all your stuff? Have you had this Job moment of I was good, I was doing all the right things, or so you think? Again, our belief system, we feel like I'm doing all the right things, and then we lose everything. We lost all the stuff that gave us meaning. God's supposed to give us that meaning. Love is supposed to be this meaning, but we've replaced it with our stuff. So now Job has friends that come in, and each friend seems to be very certain themselves of what Job has had to have done, what sin he's had to have committed to receive this type of punishment, because God is just. So they all have their own belief systems of what God is and who Job is. And when we are going through a spiritual awakening, you will have this. You are shaking up other people's belief systems. Now you're seeing things that other people aren't seeing. You're thinking things other people aren't thinking. And you seem to be not understood by your friends, and they seem to not understand you. And it's a super confusing place to be. So if you are there, know that you will get out of that spot. Just sit in it for a little bit. Just sit in it for a little bit longer.
And this is Locaeus, and before the friends come in, he gets the boils. That's also a manifestation of you when he put all this crap down, all of the guilt, all the crap, all the shame. It has to manifest on your body. So how many times, comment as you've held something for so long, it comes now with your body, stomach aches, headaches. You just know something. And this was also representation of the health, is saying when you hold it out, you got to remember all your negative, you breathe it in. If you could see it the way we see it, you breathe it in, it comes in this black, musky, you can't see it, and it comes in and it affects all your chakras. It affects your energy field. And that is what, and it blocks your chi energy, your Holy Spirit energy. That's what the Holy Spirit energy is. It's your chi, it's your Shakti, whatever you want to call it. That's your energy field. So he has all of this blockage. It has to go somewhere. It's in the physical. And sometimes you're going to get shook up. You're going to lose. And so that's what happened to boils. I just wanted to mention the health because that's very significant, because It's because that's what happened. And his three friends come in. You notice everybody will say, well, it was great. They just sat with him for 7 days. That was the worst thing they could have done, because when you sit, your mind stirs, the illusion hits, the darkness, your illusion. And remember, if you watch our live, The Limit, you can literally taste it. You will go back to, and so you ask, what's a trigger? Well, what a trigger really is, it's a memory that you keep. You don't have to keep any of this shit, but a human decides, hey, I want to keep it. So what happens, it's stored in here and it stays. And then something will just bring it up and you'll taste it, you relive it. So Job is reliving this experience of losing his kids, the things that he thought was important. Of course, he's going to be probably the loss of his children. And nobody's, whatever. So he's in this, but I got this boils and he can't explain any of this. And so he's in this illusion and his friends just sit there. A good friend is not going to just sit there for 7 days and just let you, because you know the whole time these three friends are like, yes. They just couldn't wait to just go at him. To basically saying, you need to be within yourself. If a friend's going to come in, make sure they're there for you, and they're not going to let you sit. They're not going to let you sit, because that's the worst thing you could have done. So I do also want to say that too. Anybody, I can say, do not just, we can talk with Cosmo, Kramer, and Wendy, people that we loved and left. They would have loved if somebody just listened to them. Not for 7 days of silence. That's the worst thing you can do. So they didn't. So you already know these friends can't be good. So that's been misinterpreted forever. And that gets on my nerves, because don't do that. Talk to the person. You know, yes, you give them their space. I get all that, and they're grieving, but you have to help. Like yesterday, for example, Michelle was having a bad moment. So she talked to Angie, and she reached out, and it made her feel better. Now, had she just sat in her shit, it's not going to help, because your mind's just going to go into this, because you haven't got rid of this energy. But if you can, that's what is going on with Job. He has to remember. And these three friends, by the way, are a mere reflection of things he already knows. So they're all going to come in. Again, the people that you are hanging around with will give back the information to remind you, again, what are the lessons you are forgetting? And all they're doing is rehashing stuff to remind him who he is. And it gets him to question and question. And the whole time the divinity's listening, going, he really doesn't understand what's going on. Melchizedek is right. The accuser is right. He has no clue. Yeah. And that was a big old thing for the divine to hear. Oh, okay, wait a second. This part of the diamond I wasn't aware of. This is all brand new. So you're hearing it from different perspectives. And that's what Angie, the beautiful thing she said with the diamond and the different facets of a diamond. This is a perfect of this.
It is. Thank you. Do I need to repent?
Yeah. That's holy water, by the way. You're wondering, what's he doing?
It's crazy. I
wasn't doing that at you, Angie. I was just in general doing that. So, oh my God, what's he just? No, I was doing that.
I do think it is super interesting how everybody in this story thinks they know something else, and they don't. Like, God thought he knew Job. The Satan thought he knew Job. The Satan was a little bit closer. Job's friends thought they knew Job and thought they knew God. Job thought he knew God and his friends. And at the end, no one knew anything. No one knows anything. And I want that to be one of the big takeaways here, that if you are a follower of God, or you are righteous, or you are any of these things, you need to realize you don't know anything either. We're coming here and we're trying to teach. But again, we're teaching beliefs against your belief systems. And beliefs are like the only thing that's making all this stuff up. And we make up our beliefs. And so as Job lost all his stuff, he had two choices there. So he could wallow and sink to this level of nothingness that he sees, or he could have trusted God and been still attached to that spark of divinity that's always at peace. So even though everything looked like a mess, he still had access to that. And we have access to that in a spiritual awakening. We don't have to sit and just feel the mess we're in. That duality exists, that facet exists. We can say, hey, I want to access the part of myself that's at peace here until I have an understanding or an acceptance of my situation.
Yeah, and you have to, I'm sorry, I'm getting a lot of, we had a funeral procession go past, so I'm getting a little, yeah, Laura had to warn me, and I felt it before she said a word. But yeah, go ahead, Angie. Whatever I was going to say, obviously left by the old lady that was passing by. So,
All right.
I apologize. It'll come to me when
it's fine.
Irrelevant.
I guess another takeaway was that God wasn't controlling anybody or anything. People were making their own decisions here. And we need to realize we make our own decisions, and we can be personally guided by God, but God's not going to guide us to do something in someone else's life. Like, God's not going to tell me that I need to revoke a law that helps you, or I'm going to, like, God, that's not anything God's going to do. God's observing. It's observing. And in the Bible, when death or something bad's happening, he's sending like angels. He like something else it's their job to do that. It is not, God will not send you to punish somebody. So if you feel like my belief system says God tells me to punish people, no, that's just like your ego, your Job before he lost his shit, and you think all your stuff is more important. Your heart is hard. And the point of all this stuff is to shake your shit up and soften it. It's supposed to be soft. Where people call people empaths, and nice people to call them snowflakes, like it's a bad thing. God would want you to be a snowflake. He wants you to be gentle. And at the end of this, Job gets humbled. And that is a point we need to come to. After he loses everything and he has this conversation with God, and God's basically like, you don't get it. You can't understand why anything happens to you. You're just supposed to trust that God had a reason for doing it and to just go with it. We're not to question it because we won't understand the reason. And that's super important. We will not understand why things happen. Some things are for karma. Some things are for this. Like, there's some things we can see why they came into our lives. There's other things that we just don't see, or maybe we won't see its importance until the end of our life. We have to just trust it. Trust me, when I was losing all that stuff and seeing all my belongings go to 1-800-GOT-JUNK, I should have trusted that process. Me losing that home that I built and picked out everything of, I needed to trust it. I needed to not grieve the loss of it for as long as I did. So if you were having this tower moment, as Destiny said in her comments, that she said many tower moments. So if you've had these big tower moments, just trust it. I know it sounds crazy, but you are going to save yourself this self-pity party that you just don't have to take. You don't have to do this. Like, the Satan knew he had a hard heart and that this would be his choice, but he didn't have to choose it. You don't have to choose it. You can just go back to the end. You're right. I'm humble. I'm down on my knees. I apologize for cursing the day I was born. I'm sorry for thinking all of this revolves around me, because we're all here together. I'm just a piece, a humble piece. And once he is humbled, he receives everything back twofold. And the story ends with, we don't know why. Because he found his heart again. He opened himself up again. I bet you now when he has stuff, the stuff's not going to be that important to him. The people are going to be more important to him in his life. I bet you now he does teach his kids how to repent for their own sins and how to be better people. He's going to be the man he should have been before shit was taken away.
And this is Meku, and it seems probably like, why would I be the one that come forth? Because, little wacky Yakuza man, the red-haired Japanese man, little weird. But I feel Loki said he felt it. My story is significant in that direction. I felt I was significant. I was certain of what I did. Yeah. This applies to anybody. I felt, and I feel now I see why he had me. I had Shonda, which is these girls, they, my twin sister, she had a altar, and it was to our divine God we had. Because remember, we're not from this particular realm, it's a different realm. So we had a different divine Japanese God, and it was for protection. And I felt as long, and she knew different with me, I felt as long as I repented, I was good. No matter what I did in my weird little mind, I could go kill people, but in my weird little mind, you gotta remember, this is my world. This is what I feel. I'm judging everybody. I had things taken away from me all the time. It didn't hit me until I lost her. The whole point was losing her. That's when I seen everything. And that didn't matter to me at all. But I wasn't supposed to attach to her even. I was supposed to attach to a most higher source. I was taking control of things. That wasn't what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to take control. Churches, I noticed from just watching and observing and listening to my brothers over here talking about Locaeus and Loki. And yes, I am talking about them. And Marcus, which I hate him the worst. He's just too, I won't get into him.
I hate him the worst.
I don't like him. I don't. I stay clear away from him. I stay away from him. He just, but so he's the one I don't like, but we do. He's like the general manager here. I got to kind of deal with him. It's like, I just stay away from him. I just go in my own little area and whatever. And they're all strange. I just kind of stick to myself, really. I guess they all weird. And this whole realm is weird. I don't like the sick body. I don't like any of it, but I deal with it. But so I feel like, like a human, I've heard her kids talk about contributing to church, money. And it's the same what I did. I would go on my knees. I would contribute things, in our family's name, because it's like, I just killed your family, but now I'm going to contribute. There's a comedian that talks about, I'm going to take your stuff, but we're going to give you some stuff back in return because we just killed your people, And that's kind of what I did. I would kill people, but then I would give the family some, how about, because I thought, well, they'll see this. And that wasn't the point. It was my belief. That's how I was raised. So you need to look at yourself and your beliefs. It never felt right to me. I thought I always had conditions. I'd go to a doctor all the time, and I would kill the doctor because they're saying, well, there's nothing wrong with me. And I felt there's something wrong with me. I'm having all these physical ailments. And Shonda would say, one, quit killing the doctors. And two, she'd say, it's you. She knew before, of course she knew, of course. But, I don't listen. It's just, I knew more because I'm male. I want to know more than her. Like, shush, I got you. I'm the man. I'm good. Yeah, I don't need your
cojones equals brains for some reason, right?
Yeah. You don't know what. You're just my twin sister. Just being pretty and I got it. I'm the man. But yet she was much smarter than I was. But she would just humor, we'll humor you. You're like a cute little, we'll keep.
All right.
But I hoarded my trophies. That was my thing. And so you might say, so we didn't make cooler or anything, because it sounds like he's just weird in general. I am. But there was a point where Shonda told me we need to leave. Our kids were in danger because, our kids were not into the whole killing thing. And our kids were actually in danger for this. She said, we have to get out. I'm not going to have my kids killed or hookered out because we had beautiful daughters. We didn't want our kids. So we're like, yeah, she was my sister. You're like, just bear with me here. But we didn't want to. And so we had to leave everything. You can't escape with your stuff. She said, what's most important to you? And here was I, and she was laughing at me. I was trying to pack all my trophies, everything, because it meant, and my swords. She said, you're going to stand out like the sword, all my sword, everything. It meant something to me. That was my stuff. She said, no, leave it. I left with my mask on my head, and it made me mad because this was the worst thing. I mean, she said, take it off. I said, no. She said, take it. This is you. I didn't take it off. If you really thought, no, I wasn't taking it off because it just wasn't going to do it. She was wrong on that. She was right. I wouldn't want to do it. But I left my stuff. I left it. and we went to the mountains and we left everything. I had to relearn everything. All I knew was what I knew, but she was my teacher. And I actually found somebody higher. We had family over there that that actually escaped, and they were keeping us quiet. It was our mother's family, and they knew we were coming, and they protected us up until they all left, and we were it. And yeah, here you go. But I learned from them, and it was like a Job moment. I had to lose everything, and it was stuff. All it was stuff. And I grieved over my stuff. I was over there going, my swords. I wonder who's got my swords and my trophies. And it drive me crazy. And I would think of my life. And for a long time, I would judge people based on color. I'm basing people like money. And they said, this is not how we do things. And when we lived, it was like an ashram. What you had, you contributed to everybody. You owned nothing. You own not even really yourself. You contributed, and I hated that because it's like, no. And they're like, no. It was the best thing for me. So I ended up, teaching people. Then I became very ashamed of my past, but I made it like a fictional character because I didn't want people to see, like they didn't know who I was. The family would keep it quiet. They kind of knew, but they kind of didn't. And I didn't want to talk about it. And towards the end of my life, I did take this off. So people saw. So that's my part, because I thought I was doing all the right things. In my mind, I wasn't. Yep. Just because you do and you give and you think that's it, that's not. And I was, and I was always judging. I was always going on what I knew. And that wasn't the right. Shonda always trying to teach me what was right. She didn't know everything, but she had a higher perspective because she was raised. We were separated for 14 years. So she had a different perspective and a higher teaching than me. They didn't go into all the killing. So she didn't get into it like I was. So she was the best teacher I had to teach me this. So she was like my blue heavens. So, but what I gained was, I didn't have very long with that, but that was priceless to me, was having that time to be in my silence. And I was grieving my stuff. But I was starting to see, she said, look at the good now. Look at the good. When I started just letting go and loving, quit putting myself as significant, being certain over things, and changing my belief system, because once you have a certain limited belief in your head and all these triggers, and then I'm having really all my body aches leave. All of this is leaving. I'm like, I was killing doctors for no reason. Shonda was right. What? Yeah, what? Oh, I was wrong. But so if you're wondering, this is kind of my repentance. So yes, you say, yeah, but I learned. And yes, I was baptized. I was actually baptized by the monk that was there. He said he saw great, because I was always now mournful. I'd have kids ask me, where did this scar come from? And if I told a lie, they felt it. No. And then, so I would just start telling them, my family. And you believe it or not, the truth sets you free. And that. So, but I ended up teaching these children values and things, stuff I wish I knew. And I would always say, I don't know everything, because these friends are coming in like they know everything. Shonda never said she knew everything. She just would teach what she knew from her heart. I was so here in my mind, but you got to think from your heart. And I'm trying to take control. She never took control. Leaving was hard. And if you go through your book of the Bible, you had Abraham leaving and Moses leaving to get you uncomfortable. Yeah. And I had to leave to be uncomfortable. That everything I ever knew. And it was like 25 years of everything I knew gone. She telling me our kids are in danger, we're going to die. We have to get the hell out of here. And what was most important at that moment was your family. You had to just leave with them. I was lucky to have my family to go back. I had one that died, but I had the rest to go. So that's our too, remember that, so you can look at my life, dissect it, and look at your life within that and ask the divine, where can I change things? Had I just sat and asked, where's my tower moments? I like that tower, because it really is your tower, because you change, your rebirth. It's like the phoenix, your rebirth. And you always see Krishna with the peacock, because it signifies rebirth. He was rebirth. Yep. And once I left, what I thought was significant and made me, I was more significant with I had more growth and contribution, which meant more to me. When I would get sad, Shonda would say, let's help a child. And that's where my teaching came in, because I quit thinking of me so much. Like, oh, my pity, 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 pity. I got to go punch something now. And I just, you know, what? And our kids were like, why is dad going lunatic over here? He's just, you know, and she'd be like, take that anger. You're frustrated. You don't know who you are anymore. So if you're angry, that's a good thing. She told me, that's good that you're angry. It's good that you're angry. Let it out. And these other boys, it was divine. They would see me. They go, what is this crazy man doing? He's just, but it feels good to do that. And I noticed they'd be imitating me. And I'm like, it'd be laughing because they weren't doing the punches right. They're just, you know, I'm like, no, it's not how we do. But I felt when I could teach them, oh, and I'd feel good. So divinity was always behind me, teaching me, I'm teaching somebody else. And the more I did, I was grateful for my family. Shonda would say, what are you grateful for today? And I'd be like, oh. She said, me? I said, I don't know. I'm thinking that you're debating here. She said, air, your heart. And then finally it was the divine. Because she said, because I'd hear her, she'd be I'm grateful. And she would always, I'm grateful for my family, my kids. And she'd really feel, and then once we started doing that together, she'd put her hand on my heart. She said, I know it's kind of cold in there right now. Just warm it up. And it was a very long time. This wasn't a quick few months thing. This was, and Job had to have been sitting for quite some time in his own state, because when you're in the cave moment, it's a bit. It's not, you're not learning this quickly. This is because your mind will keep going back as illusion, but finally something in you clicks. Yeah. And once, because you start seeing the good come forth, and you start changing your thought processes, and you see somebody else. And the first time I think I knew I changed is when I heard the children say, Meku, can he be our teacher? Mm-hmm. I think that was the first time I felt significant, like, and not in that way. I felt like I'm contributing, not significant as I was contribute, you know, I was helping. And they said, because they would have anger, they could come to me. I stopped a lot of children hurting themselves. I stopped a lot of it because I understood I understood all that. And it would help them see my scar now. It would help them to see, oh, okay, and I see it, and they understood it. And my truth helped them. So your truth, no matter what your truth is, will help somebody. Like, she's going through a divorce, or her divorce is final, but she's still going through all the little shit here. But that's going to help somebody else not go through their shit. And that's going to save somebody how many years of somebody else. We know people that have committed suicide. Well, it's going to save somebody else, because we know Locaeus has done this a lot because he's got human. I understand from the violent standpoints. So we're all here to teach in a way to save you having time to do this. And Job is an example of so many different aspects. There's judging, there's labeling, there's all kinds of stuff in the story of Job. And so just for time, you know, just kind of look at that. You know, there's all kinds of misinterpretations and things. But I told my life again, so just put your own life. And oftentimes I think when you do that, it makes your life, you can see the patterns in somebody else's beliefs and systems and that. So that's kind of my view on all that.
Perfect. That was awesome. I would like to add that God ended everything with talking about Behemoth and Leviathan, saying that they were two great and dangerous beings that lived on the planet, but that they weren't evil, that they are still part of God's good world. So I wanted to add that sometimes things that are big and seem scary are still purposeful. That everything here is purposeful. It's all a teaching tool. Like at the end, it was like, was Job punished and then rewarded? Well, these are lessons. It's all just lessons. And we're here to learn the lessons, and they're going to repeat until we learn it. Because that's what it's all about. So I hope that you got a lot out of today. And I hope that the biggest things that you get, don't be so certain about stuff. I think we need to ease up on our certainty, stop being selfishly led, and serve others. I like Meku was like, he was talking about how he was angry, right? And then that was kind of his superpower teaching moment to little kids to help them with their anger. So what crazy thing is in you that what's the word I'm looking for? You've tamed, that you've like you understand this thing now, And now you need to go find the audience that needs to learn from that. That's what we're here to do. So it's not like you serving somebody else is you truly giving everything that you have. Oh, I'll give you everything. No, your voice, your ear, right? To listen to someone that's in pain or just needs help. That is serving someone. God, give me the answers. Like, anytime lately that I've been having a problem, I say, God, take the front seat. You are in charge of this situation. It calms me down. I no longer feel like I need to come up with anything. I know I just show up, and when I go and I talk to that person, everything that's supposed to be said will be said. There's no thinking. I've asked, right? We need to get back into that. Stop trusting yourself so much. What do you know? We don't know anything. Especially our school system is just indoctrination. It's to help us learn what to think and how to think. I go, it's all nonsense. Stop letting your beliefs be so powerful that you're like a lion on someone else on their beliefs. Just let everyone else do their thing. You do you. You help people that ask for help. Or if you see a need, fill the need. Be humble and let your heart always be the leader of your life, and it will be grand. It'll be great, and you'll still have ups and downs and ebbs and flows, but your heart will be with that all peaceful peace of God that's up there, right? That's it's not really up there. It's just, it's all everywhere and nowhere, right? But yeah.
And this is Lucifer, and I feel, hi Angie. We always notice after when she watches you wave, so we're making an effort to look over, right? Because we get so focused.
I know.
And so I apologize.
It's all right. I just get excited, like it's just like instinctual, like wave to them.
Well, we get excited too, but then we get, because her mind, it's just, oh my gosh. So, but my perspective on this whole with Job is I was judged unfairly, and all of these things. I sort of, and Dylan, it made me sad yesterday. He's learning how to see us, because usually it's just to feel us.
Yeah.
And he was describing each of the rest of them, like Meku. But Meku got mad because he's pride his red hair. And he said, I don't see you with the scar. And Meku yelled at him, which I said, he's going to see him. I said, he's going to see you how he sees you. Quit, whatever, but Meku was all not having any of it. But when he got to me, he goes, "Aw," to me. And I go, yes. And he goes, so he started, he goes, you have a hut. Yeah, I have a hut. You got a cauldron in the middle of your hut. I'm like, yeah. He goes, you sure this isn't Marcus, a hut? And I go, no, I don't like Marcus. No. Yeah, I'm another one. I'm not crazy about Marcus. He has a lot of not fanfare here. He's not allowed anywhere around me.
Huh.
No, I would bite him. He knows. He just stays away from me. He knows. Yeah, I know, right? I have, so he goes, oh, you're black. I can't see you. You're all black. And he said, why? And I felt a better question. I said, why do you think? And he said, because that's how you view yourself. I don't see myself light in your divinity. I don't see myself with all of my walk. I don't see it. I'm the Leviathan he's talking about. I'm the what he's talking about. I'm the one that people are scared of. You say Lucifer, people immediately, they go to all these horrible visions. But Dylan, all he saw was black. And he said, that makes me sad for you. He said, because you're a good person. And he felt that. And people that have met me through the girls see that side of me. I can say my name freely now. People don't go, oh, yes, a demon. All it means is shadow. That's all it meant. I put myself in my own illusion and I stay because of how I viewed humans. I don't know. How humans have viewed me. So I'm what he calls that you don't judge before you know. And I'm one of these judged all the time. And I'm hearing like the blood, but you don't know why are they doing that. Well, they'd force me to kill my family. They'd force me to do these things. I couldn't do anything but forgive them and go. And I'm at the point now, I don't care if people say Lucifer and something that's going to happen to me. It's not. It's a name. It's just a name like your name. Yeah. It's a belief you've settled in that somebody has said. So in the book of Job, it's talking about your walk and how your walk is to you. In my case, I felt significant. I was always certain I felt. And then when uncertainty hit me, though, I still didn't grow. I didn't get the point, and I quit listening to Lilith because I wasn't going to have a female tell me anything. I was the archangel. She was not. And so in my stupid head, I fought until I just couldn't fight. And yes, now I see that it was taken from me for a reason. Here's the thing. I've always known for why it's been taken from me. The people say, Lucifer, you're that stupid. No, I knew why. I know why. But how do I teach if I know why? I can say I know why all day long and say I know why I did, my thoughts, my state of flow, all of this, my contribution, the judging, da, 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 da. But if I don't stay in my pit of hell, you don't learn how to get out of your pit of hell. So I'll stay in my pit of hell to teach you to get out of your pit of hell. It don't matter anymore what I feel or think or what. I don't care if you feel bad for me. When Dylan said that, I said, but do you learn from me? And he goes, yes. He goes, you're like a father figure. You teach me. And I said, no, it doesn't matter how you see me then. He said, can I see how mom sees you? She sees me light brown hair and purple eyes. And he didn't know how you see me. And I said, well, then ask her how you see me. But he sees me just in black. And I said, well, maybe it's your interpretation or this is how you see me. But regardless, he said, and I said, but how do I make you feel overall? And he goes, protective, like a dad, love, like you understand me. Trevor, when he has a problem and he's doing shadow work, he'll listen to a certain meditation we can post on page or whatever, and he listens to it, and it's a chant with my chanting, and it'll help him. He's having a lot of childhood from the divorce, and he's trying to recant these triggers. And he said, when I'm standing with him, he feels a protective force of love. And he goes, I don't understand why people mock you. But I said, they mock Jesus. They mock the divinity. They mock everything. They mock other humans. They mock whatever. They asked me, why wouldn't Jesus ever walk forth? I said, because he'd be killed immediately, then dissected. Dylan asked me, something strange. He said, why does humans feel the need to catch and dissect? Because it's all in your mind. You're not going to see it over here. And aliens, another thing. Why would an alien come and save us? Dylan says, why don't they come and save us? I said, one, because aliens walk among you. They work amongst you. And plus, they can't be in this atmosphere. They can't be in this atmosphere. It's just terrible. They'd be killed and they would be dissected instead of just taking and learning. So again, Job is just a lesson in everything. And that's what the happy ending is. He learned to love, contribute, and that's a happy ending. But what if you're me and you go, well, what was my happy ending? I have her. This is where the case, I don't have Angie, but that's a good thing for Angie because you're not in this pit of hell. You see things differently. This part stayed and to teach me, and I wouldn't be alone. That was just that sacrificial heart of hers. I left divinity to come to her, and she felt that part of her to stay with me. So Marcus has 20, I got 80. And that part, Walnut, isn't, because I don't, but you get the lighter part, which is Archangel Lucifer, which is Locaeus. And she gets him the darker part. When I say darker, it's just Melchizedek and shadow, and you get the light, how I was originally, how I was. And I'm still me. It's just a different aspect of me. You got to remember, I didn't cross.
Right.
None of us crossed. It's just a part of me came out, was the archangel went back, which was Locaeus, Samuel, So that would have been in Job again. So I was judged, but I know all of this stuff. But in order to teach you, again, my darkness is out of love, and I feel my contribution to humans is, and as for your divinity with Jesus and God, yes, I can read the Bible. If it was true, I would read it. Parts of this is not true. You got to remember, the true Bible has a lot more in there. I would never go forth against Jesus. I would have never gone forth against God. I might question some of the things he does, but he would welcome the questioning. Every good teacher is all right with you questioning things. Your divine is good. I'm even good with you questioning me. If you had a problem with me, I'd rather you just say Lucifer, straight your question, and I'll just say, feel my energy. Simply just feel it. You're not going to feel what you feel. You feel. And same with divinity and that. So that's my contribution. Again, is he tamed all. So like snakes, for example. I see people, they do that, but you see Scott loving. That was the first time I seen Michelle. Like, snakes are my thing. I love snakes. That's just, I always loved those snakes. They were protective. Yeah. They're protective. They're loving, and they're so unassuming. They're not out to get you unless you're going to come get them. But there's different. Of course, you got the ones that really will, just whatever reason, like Loki on you. But that's humans too. They'll do that on you as well. Yeah. So I like represent all of the things like black cats and killing these black cats because it's whatever. It's just so stupid. Everything has a purpose. Everything on this earth, and it has a purpose. So that is just kind of my 2 cents on Job, because I felt I could hear Marcus talk. Sorry, I talk about maybe I should come out. Yeah, he needs to get out around me quickly. But I wanted to put my 2 cents.
Perfect.
Yeah. So.
And I like, again, the Satan wasn't yelled at by God for bringing up his opinion. God didn't smite him for saying his opinion. It was like everybody was working together, like things were working together. And the Satan knew Job too. He wasn't trying to hurt Job. He's experiencing it with Job. He didn't leave Job. Job's not alone. Like, this entity is here with us in the illusion. That's how it could see it. And I think that's super special. We need to keep that in mind, that the darkness and the teachers of the darkness that are here, they're not evil. They're part of the good world. They're here. If we choose to go low, they're going to be low with us. Because we're not alone. We're not supposed to be alone. And we can call on them and they will help us. We can call on God if we're not comfortable. Like, they don't like Marcus. Marcus is super high energy. He's got some other things going on. But, sometimes people don't want that. And that's okay. It's all building blocks. We all will have our own journey and our own walk. And we will have our own progress, our own start line and finish line. We're all different, but we're all covered under beings that just love us, and they're teachers. And you are a teacher, and we are all teachers. And your voice, your message, all that stuff is super important. You just have to have an open heart. So check yourself today. Check yourself. Are you Job with all your stuff, loving all your stuff, getting off on all your stuff? Are you truly humble and you're thankful for everything that you have, and you are giving parts of yourself to others? We come here to serve you. We want to serve you. Our Tuesday teachings are our way to serve you, to help to serve us too, because we watch it and then we learn. This is our way of service, right? And that's love. We're showing you love. So how can you show love to yourself and somebody else today? Are you going to be humble and humble yourself to do this walk so you can walk better? So many people want God back in schools and want to show people God. Well, you're not being God right now. Most of you, you're not being God. You're being, I have my stuff. I know better than you. F that noise. No, you don't. Sit back down. Get on your knees and get humble, get humblified, because that's what's necessary for you to be happy with the life that you leave here when you're done. Again, people always say that when you cross to the other side, God's only going to ask you about your life, and this is true. He's not going to ask you what Sally or little Joseph did. He's going to know what you did, and you're going to be accountable for yourself, just like Job was accountable for himself. So this is like a spiritual awakening. where are you at? And again, you'll have many of these. I just had another one. Like I just upgraded again. They don't stop coming, but you don't always lose all your shit at once. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is Michelle. And that's exactly, I mean, I had just been, well, my divorce was mine, so, basically my Job moment is I was comfortable in a marriage I knew was not right, and he could buy the stuff, and I was comfortable with the stuff. I wasn't happy. I knew logically to leave, and I was given all kind of moments to leave, but I felt safe. I was certain I was safe, and I didn't. But until 28 years, I left. Now, 2 years later, my divorce was actually final because I divorced during COVID. So it was 2 years before it was actually last June. I'm still going through that grief. I'm still going through all of the Job moment. Like I thought was my safe. I hoard all my stuff that I had during my marriage and have not yet got rid of the stuff. Angie, I called her crying, and she said, "You're letting go." And by the way, thank you, because she said the right words to help me, and she made me think. And it wasn't she made me think. Like she asked me questions and I answered like Locaus would. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah. But it was stuff that I needed to hear. And I have stuff. Like Dylan calls it, we're clean hoarders. We have everything in boxes and it's hoarded nicely, but I keep it as memories. For what reason, you ask? But it's not helping. And Dylan's forever saying, Mom, we need to get rid of our clean hoarding ways because we want new, and not that we want new stuff. We want to contribute, give to other people. We don't need to keep this stuff anymore to bring in the new. All of us want something new. So and Angie mentioned that. So I could see myself in Job. Yeah. And because I want to be a better person, contribute more. But the stuff needs to go. It's all memories that don't need to be here. It needs to go away. And I've been seeing dreams of being in a fire, seeing my stuff leave in a fire. And I'm thinking, I don't even want to venture that way if that's where it's going. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we're going to be doing something totally different, but I feel it's to get me to do something, put a fire under my ass and just do it and change in that. So and this is another spiritual awakening, and I had strep throat, and every time I get sick, and I felt it again, Locaia said, it's forced me to lay down and think. And Angie, same thing. She had, so we both were resting, and it forced me to have to think and let go. And I hate it. But in order to go, you have to face these things. I don't know everything. And yes, I'm pitying myself, putting myself in victim mode and oh, woe is me. And I hear Locaeus go, okay, get your pity out, get your pity out, get your pity out. And, he would say, now ask the divine. And I would ask, and they would say, don't worry, it's all going to be fine. Quit trying to take control, let me. And look at all the good things I've ever done. And look at the good things out of the divorce. And so my kids are getting triggered to remind me why I left. Because I always think I shouldn't have left. And then I hear my kids going, I remember when this happened or this happened. And I was always, what it is, my kids felt they had to protect me. So they had miserable childhoods because they felt they had to protect me against their father screaming at me all the time and whatever else, or hold me up against the wall and doing this stuff to me. And they shouldn't have ever had to see that. And it had to remind me, 28 years, I can't talk around people. I notice I can't. It's terrible because I just sit there because I'm used to just not talking. I'm used to being quiet. I'm used to just doing this and channeling too. They're teaching me, I can feel them. I don't necessarily see and I don't hear voice, but I just can feel the sensation of them. So I know if they love me, that there is love and everything. So that is just trusting. And I heard Locaeus, if you can't trust anything today, at least trust me. Yeah. Especially when I'm sick. The rest of them, you will not hear any of them. They're quiet. They don't like the human condition of gross. So I won't hear them. I'll feel them, but I won't really. And Locaeus has been voted to come forth since he was human. So he gets to experience all that with me. He chooses it. But that was my Job, is that, and I understand. So my next step is taking the necessary, so we're not the clean hoarders anymore, to go forth and do the right things. I want to see my kids happy. I want to see everything change for the better so we can have that. So as well, Job, another spiritual awakening, but they are tough. They're tough, but they have to get you to grow, because if it's not tough, because you try to avoid pain. You don't want pain. You want pleasure, but you don't want pain. But sometimes the divinity will push it until you do it. And it's going to keep being brought to your face until you just face up to it and go, okay, let it go. There's no sense holding on to any of it anymore. I don't want to block any of my chi, Shakti energy anymore. I want to be able, when I'm channeling them, to give the most ever to everybody. Watching these lives is amazing. And when I say I let go, they got more where they can have information in my head. That's how they get their information. They got to find the library of books that Michelle has stored and say, oh, yeah, And this way, it's clearer for them to come forth and get that message to everybody. And that's highly important. And that's my job. I make sure, and when I say job, it's a love of, this is the thing that gets me up in the morning. I love doing this. I get to do this with my sister, who I never thought would be a thing I could get to do. It's amazing, all of it, and I look at my life going like Job. Now I look at all the advantages, all the shit, if I hadn't met him, I wouldn't have 3 beautiful kids. Yeah. I wouldn't, they're so good. And I wouldn't have Angie in my life and all the loss, but I wouldn't have this. And I would have not learned this, and mom and dad, but then look at the love that they do. And I called my mom Friday, and I had horse strep throat, and she was like, stay away from us. Yeah. Just don't come near us. But the first thing she said, and I called her crying, was, what can I do for you? What can we do for you right now? And that meant everything. Like, wow. And you say, well, that's your mom. But when you're in self-pity mode, you think nobody wants to hear you. But I could hear Lokea say, you need to reach out. You need to talk to people, and don't hold it in. Job should have had friends that listened to him. So today, be humble, but listen as well. Be a good ear. When Angie just heard me, but she would take it back and question it, it made me think again. So just tell me the answer. She would tell me, hey, Michelle, knock, knock, knock. And then Locaeus is reinforcing it. And divinity will do that. And divinity will speak through other people and everything. And you'll have to feel the truth in your heart, because the divine is truth, and you'll feel it. You'll just know. That's when they say you want to manifest, because it comes with feeling. When Job started feeling, when he started listening to God, he starts listening to God. He humbles. That's what we see. He humbles, he listens, and he no longer tries to take control of it. God never tell him, no, this is what I do, A plus B. And no, he just tells him, you don't know what I do. So we also need not to be judging everything. Like if you go to a church, understand this is their version of how they're interpreting the Bible. Mm-hmm. We need to understand. It's always good to, I'm saying, no, read the Bible. You don't have to do that. Just understand, does it feel right? If you see it on Facebook, does it feel right? If it don't feel right, then it's not truth. We feel it. And that's what they've been teaching forever. They've been teaching that. They teach that. So that's what we need to do. We just need to take things, and how does it feel to us?
Discernment.
So it's discernment. We went with mediumship. That's what they told us. One of the first things was discernment. Just understand. And that's why we understood Locaeus when we started channel. We understood discernment. They came forth, but they make us think, because they just told us everything. We don't think, and we don't appreciate the knowledge and teaching it. Right. So we have learned, and they're each in their own way, and I see how it's affected the kids too. So I just wanted to mention.
I wanted to mention that we had our Think and Grow Rich teaching, right? And then we talked about how we were going to show everybody how it works. We were manifesting, and that we were manifesting a book. Well, this past week, we signed up for Sarah Prout's Soul Writer masterclass, which she will help us get our book on shelves, hopefully this year. Mm-hmm. And I am blown away by that, because this isn't like something that she does all the time. It's like the very first time she's done this, and it's just in time for us, because we are at the stage that we are writing a book proposal, and that we were looking at publishers, and I did not have any idea how to do this stuff. And I prayed for a solution, and this is what came out. And she set the intention for this class of people that are out in the world that want to spread a message of love, that she hoped that they would be in her class. And that is absolutely what we are here to do. And I love it. It's like, to me, it has guaranteed that book is going to be on shelves. And you have no idea how much that means to me, because of all of it, Cosmo's story, our friend's story, knowing that this book, just 3 chapters in, has helped me. It's helped Michelle. It's helped some of our spirit friends. To know that this is going to be a real thing is effing amazing. And I love it. And That's what happens, man. If you can get over your self-pity and over your shit, you can do wonderful things, and it's to help other people. And then you really gain way more than what you had in stuff.
Yeah. And when I left October 9th, I seen our book in the shelves, and I seen it. And why wouldn't you come back and say, I saw it. I could see it, and it was amazing to see. And it wasn't about the money. I remember I did feel it. It wasn't about the money. It was helping people.
Yes.
We were seeing the suicide rates going down. And it wasn't about being on Oprah or Tony Robbins talking to us or meeting Sarah Prout. It was about the people reading it astounded. And I would see it over and over. And they would have me viewed, like watching somebody look at it. Like I would see somebody look at the book, like open it up in the middle and not understanding what they read, and then put it down for a bit. But then somebody else would pick it up. But that person would come back. And it's what was like one of the books that people had to come back to because they didn't concept it. But then once they would read, like somebody else would say, you need to read it. And I seen an audiobook. I seen it in an audiobook. I seen it in Kindle form. I seen it in all kinds of things and people talking about it. And they were amazed at the fact we were staying humble about it. And we weren't sitting there trying to gain this and this and this. I seen master classes, the writing from the book. But I think our thrill was we were humble. We were still contributing money, but we were stopping suicides. People weren't by themselves during divorces. The one thing I have felt is so damn alone. And I know I'm not alone, but I feel so dead alone in this divorce. And it's not, and if I maybe would have known what was on the side, I probably wouldn't have done it. I probably just would have said, F it, not done it. I know that's stupid. And I'm going to look back on this and say, that's dumb. But when I seen that October 9th, I seen the things that is going to highlight because of that. Even the October 9th happened for a reason. Yeah. It had to happen for a reason, but I saw the book. So that's why when the Think and Grow Rich, it felt right. Like, okay, this is right, because I came back. I knew Marcus knew. He said, we want you to be a part of it, because without you, Benjamin can't really, it has to be the sisters that do this. Locaeus could have been here in mass versions of this. He came to help us, but it didn't do the way the divinity wanted. So it had to be women. And that's what we're here to do. And because I've seen different versions, and you will see that when you're in the in-between, you see these different things and scenarios, and you can opt to come back. I wanted to come back, but I had to have help with Marcus to come back and Lucifer. So that's how I came back. And I'm glad to be here. However, I'm here, and but I seen it. And that means so much to us, because I never knew Mike or
Cosmo. It's all right.
Cosmo. And I didn't know Kramer, and I knew my friend Wendy.
Yeah.
And it took us for a loop, and so we just wanted to make sure that if we could have saved. And I hear Locaeus's stories, I hear Meku, and after watching these things, I hear Meku. I'll hear their stories, because I don't hear anything. I absolutely will not hear anything. So I have to watch our lives or something, or even tape record. Like, I'll know I'm tape recording to hear something from them, because that's the only way we can communicate. I can't otherwise, to hear a message from them. But I learn from them. And I notice the more clear I am, I can hear them, and they get their message out. And I noticed that their stories of sadness aren't so much anymore, because I'm not being triggered by that anymore. Because they said, but that's to learn and that's to teach everybody. But this book has helped all of them. It's helped Meku, because when you're writing, like when we're both doing that, they watch and they read and they'll tell me, and I'll know, like, it'll affect Meku, and it affected him and the rest of them too. So.
Yeah. And we're going to have 2 versions of the book, which is different. We're doing just everything about this book is going to be different, because we want it to stand out, because we know it's going to help, but I feel like it just has to be different to help. And we want a bigger audience of people. So the book will have the Lazarus and the Lucian edition, right? So the Lazarus edition is going to be light and fluffy. It's going to be like a normal spiritual self-help book. But
Right.
the Lucian edition is going to have expletives, right? It is going to be for people that are more stubborn and hard-headed and kind of need a swift kick in the ass to get the message. Like our friend Cosmo, that would have been his version. That would have been the version that he needed. Michelle probably would have needed the Lucian version. I think I would have enjoyed both. But I definitely would want the Lucian version because I laugh during it. I enjoy it. And then we'll have the goal is to also have just like a pamphlet that like sums everything up that we can just give out to people. So they just are like, hey, like you want to change your life? Here's like some free something to help you out. Because love, we want to spread love. That's what this is all about. And he reads it. He's like the only one we know that will read it that can give us honest feedback. And his response was, well, what if you don't make a lot of money? And I was like, Dad, it's not about the money. If I help one person, and honestly, if his book can help one person not take their own life, it was worth it. It was worth every bit of writing and channeling and all of it for one person to not do that, because I almost did that. My friends have done that. I see the consequences of this, and it's terrible. If I can keep one person from experiencing that kind of regret, it was well worth every single second that I sit at this computer and type it out. So that's it.
And this is Loki. So yeah, our edition is going to be like, hey,
yeah,
wake the F up, man.
Right.
It's like, come on, it's such a shit. Yeah, it's going to be my favorite version because it just tells you straight as it is. I don't sugarcoat your bullshit. And people, when you talk to me, it's a warning. I was watching one of our old YouTube videos when they were doing a reading, and that's what they said. Don't ask for Loki if you don't want to hear the damn truth.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you.
No.
And that's that version of the book. So you want the shit thrown at your ass.
Yes.
Cosmo would have loved that, and absolutely that's the version. Most people, but there's some people that the Lazarus version and some people both versions. And again, I ask to see Angie for, because we're going to have jokes and weird.
Yes.
Because we're weird.
Different. Yes.
We're weird. We are weird. Like with Angie, us over with Angie, we're mild and whatever. Over here, it's like girls gone wild. We're like, woo! We're like crazy ass over here. And it's weird. And Dylan calls his names and he's like, oh God, it's like, what do you guys do? Are you clothed? Because he was afraid to see. He said, are you all new?
Yeah.
Like, no, we got clothed.
Destiny said she's asked in advance not to be yelled at. So you've got your own way, but some people need that. Destiny, you've had your moments where you needed that. You need a little yell at to get a little fire started under your ass.
but I would always send her love and energy in that, and she would listen because she's as bullheaded as I'm bullheaded. We just butt heads, and that's fine. She's my priestess. Of course, the way I view it, Destiny. If I didn't love you, I got to watch. Oh my God, I got to watch him. He's not liking that. Sorry, I have mutual feelings. Sorry, because he's not okay. I can't even say that. So basically, respect. I can say that. Okay, he's still miffed at me. You probably all feel that fire coming at me. Is I wouldn't do that. If for whatever reason I would have never butted heads unless I wanted you to listen, and you did hear me. Yep. Because you're not like, it's like, I don't like to do it. No, that's a lie. I like it kind of, I love it. It's like, but not. But she did listen when I did it, and then I send chaos because it's like, oh, we gotta have him soften the blow because I just went all like that. But
she said it's so true. Why do I need to be so damn difficult to myself? We all do, and so many of us do. There's a book for you.
That's rhyme.
Yeah, it was wonderful. So I love this. This was great. I have to pee, so I think we got to wrap it up, or else I'm gonna have a wet chair. I don't want that.
So same over here. Just still lucky, but so I'll bring Marcus forth, and we'll.
Perfect.
Not the one that I'm the only one that really loves him, except me and Lucaeus, because I guess the other two you heard they're like.
Oh.
And here's me. I guess I have the vote of not being liked.
I'm sorry.
They're just jealous of me because I'm half nude all the time, and I walk around and they don't like it. Whatever, they can shove it. Whatever, they can shove it.
Oh my
I'm
God.
happy.
Sorry, Destiny put like a, oh, where did it go? Damn it. She put ha ha ha, plug it, girl. And I thought she meant like, since I have to pee, to like, not like you plug it up my pee. And then she put OMG the book, plug the book. Why would you want me to plug my pee? I get it.
That would be something different for Blue Heavens. It'd be something different that has not been seen. Hey.
Not been seen. Not been seen.
Okay, but first off, before we leave, I'm going to plug it in.
A pee tampon.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you call that? And yeah,
pee tampon. Ow.
I like that. That's funny.
That's funny.
Oh, right. So I'd like to thank the divinity and plugs, obviously. I'd like to thank all the spirit guides, divinity for being here, and the message of Job being come across in a whole different way for everybody to think about. I'd like to thank the girls for once again interpreting us, for Michelle just being like the sitting duck, and Angie for interpreting us because nobody understands us. So we appreciate that. Everybody that joined us, we hope that you get a good view out of this. Take what makes sense to you and take that information in your heart. Think about it, and don't take everything to heart just because we said it. Look into it, feel what's right to you, and that is what's right. We're here to plant seeds. So we plant a seed, you take that information and you teach somebody else, refer them over here, or you teach them or whatever. But the message is we want to take these stories and give it to you the way we know they're supposed to be given out. So that is what we're doing. And we hope to do this again. We're going to pick another part of the Bible, we'll do it again. We'll pick another version and we'll pick it. Maybe we can even put people when they like to hear Exodus or whatever, we can do that. But I'd like to thank all the divinity and everybody for joining us. We love when you're here because they have worked so hard for this. And they're humble about it. They're very humbled and they love all of you. The spirit gifts, we love the spirit gifts. We just love it. And as a matter of fact, that's what was happening when we're talking. That's why I guess Loki or Locaus was talking, and that's why they had to stop, because we're getting spirit gifts ideas. So we're already getting the ideas coming forth. They're already the Jerry's kids, so they're all coming forth. And that, so we're having to okay, we have to pause, because of course, and that because they're trying to say this and say, no, it's not time. We got to hold. But we're appreciative of everybody being here. We love all of you, and be a good human, and be the good human that is here. Be your highest self always. And take Job as an example and put yourself in all aspects of Job, the accuser and God and all of it, and put yourself in different versions and see yourself in each version, and then ask the divine, where do I fit in? How can I learn from this? Maybe write it down, meditate, or whatever. And it'll help you it'll help you out. And the divine, it doesn't hide nothing from you, but all the things, you don't need to know everything. It's not up to you. Say, do you guys know everything? We don't answer that. But that if you want to join Thursdays, and no, we're not giving that information. But and then as for why does make two and the rest of them don't, could be another live altogether. If you want to know why do they not like you, they're just jealous. That's my interpretation. So I'm gonna give it to my priestess because I never know where she's at to end it, so she doesn't have to plug in her pee.
Yeah, Destiny called it a pee pond. It's been hilarious. I love a pee pond. I love you, Destiny, for coming up with pee pond. So thank you. I needed that, and I need one.
But the crossbow trip you guys are going to be having in June, so you might have to have one of those for that.
I might have to invent the pee pond. Destiny, let's get in on this. What are we using? So our next Tuesday teaching is going to be May 2nd. And I think we were going to do Dylan's suggestion of where do we go when we're channeling. So we're going to talk about that. Where are we at when we're doing this? What's that like? So that'll be what it is. Hey, if you guys have questions about channeling and where we are, ask us. We'll address them on the live. If you don't care, then just show up and listen to it if you'd like. But I think it'd be interesting for people that do channel. or interested in channeling to know what's going on. And I normally don't pay attention to where I'm at, so I'm going to start paying attention to where I'm at so I can be more aware for the teaching. Destiny said, that's awesome. I need the next teachings. Yeah, we're going to get this next teachings. We're going to do real good.
Yeah, and when this Marcus, and we're also going to say, Dylan asked, where are we at in all of this? What are we at when we're channeling? He wanted to know, like, where are we at in the state? Why aren't we here? So we're going to explain that. Where do they go? Where are we at? Yeah. And it'll help people that channel. And we'll start with, and that'll be the one where we'll introduce one of the things we have on our website is Loki's energy work. And we'll introduce some of these techniques. This is one that we would really like to help people with. Yeah. Is the energy. So this one here will actually show you this energy and all of that, like where are we at? Because they always think we're all in here. And no, Michelle does not have that. And she doesn't have all of the parts because we don't. She don't have that. We have the parts. She does not have the parts or the Adam's apple. So, but we'll explain.
If you had the parts, you would never be leaving your room.
No, well, absolutely. No, that these girls would never leave.
Never leave the room. It's glad we don't have those parts.
Yeah, now you see when we stay in our realm and we're very content.
Yeah, they're very adventurous.
We are. We're on the Lucian side. We are not on the Lazarus, but we are on the Lucian side. We're all like girls gone wild, like Loki said. It's
chafed on the Lucian side, and it's never getting any business on the Lazarus side.
Yes, absolutely. We're like the ones you go, oh yeah, what is that all about? So yeah, that's us.
It's true. It's true. All right, so I do need a pee pun, so we're gonna wrap this up. Oh, I'm just all over the place. All right, so thank you all for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'd like that all of this stuff gets to be a little different than what other people do. And I hope that it makes you think, because we really try to think deep. Like I try to think real deep. What's something I haven't seen before? And I love this stuff. I think it's fantastic. And I'm super glad that you guys are joining us with all this stuff. And I hope that you will enjoy our spirit gifts from Jerry's Kids, because I'm telling you guys, if you haven't had a spirit gift, it's awesome. You feel seen and heard. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. Just look out, world, and get prepared to be seen, loved, and heard. And we hope that we served you well today. So go do a little bit of kindness, smile at a stranger, not creepily, like my eyes crossed. I guess if you want to, you can creepily smile at a stranger. They'll either appreciate it or not. But yeah, we love you, and we'll see you in our next live.